This is your code of conduct. Make sure you read it. Make sure you read your code of conduct.
They put the papers, they just put the papers there so people can read it.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
One of them is
Yeah, watch out.
keep the door open.
Okay, now.
Good evening. I call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock. We will have Alejandro Martinez Cavazos from West Covina High School to conduct our invocation tonight. Please stand.
Good evening, President Cruz, Board of Education, Dr. Flores, Cabinet and guests. For my invocation tonight, I have chosen a quote from the poetry book, Thinkers and Feelers by Melanie Godfrey, gifted to me by my sister last Christmas. When the world feels cruel, be kind to everyone and everything. When the world feels out of control, be patient and take action when you can. When the world feels dark, find the light and share it. When the world feels lost, be found within yourself and teach others to do the same. Thank you for your time and attention.
And for the flag salute, we have Cristabella.
Everyone, please face the flag, put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Kelly, please take roll.
Ms. Cruz?
Present.
Ms. Mariana?
Here.
Mrs. Miranda? Dr. Lopez? Present. Mr. Flowers?
Here.
Mr. Martinez?
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Here.
Ms. Valenzuela? Here. Ms. Stacy? Here. Dr. Flores?
Present.
At this time, I will ask Mr. Magallanes to report an action taken in closed session. Mr. Magallanes.
The following action was taken in closed session on November 12th, 2024, with the subsequent action being reported in open session as required by law. It was moved by myself, Joe Magallanes, seconded by Mr. Flowers, to approve the settlement agreement related to case number 2024-090281. The vote was 4-0 with one absent.
We now move on.
Second action taken. The following action was taken in closed session on November 12th, 2024, with the subsequent action being reported in open session as required by law. It was moved by Mr. Flowers. It was seconded by Mrs. Cruz to approve the settlement agreement related to case number 222642. The vote was 4-0 with one absent. Thank you.
We now move on to hearing session. Mr. Magallanes. Dr. Lopez.
I have nothing to report.
Mr. Flowers.
Yes, I just want to honor to Ms. Flores. Dr. Flores went to DC and honor us on this. That's the Blue Ribbon Award on this week. So, so Mount Sac College, Early College Academy a National Blue Ribbon School. So thank you for representing us this weekend. And also to all the veterans out there. Yesterday was Veterans Day, and when I was a veteran, I went in with one of my friends, and he accidentally, died tragically while we was together in the field. And that day always, when I heard the taps, I always get emotional because we grew up together. And when I think about the time, so Veterans Day really mean a lot to me. And I really honor that flag and honor all of those who served in the military also. So thank you, and happy belated Veterans Day to you all. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Flowers. And now we have Leia Valenzuela.
Good evening, President Cruz, Board of Education, Dr. Flores, Cabinet, and guests. Students and staff representing our mental health club provided wellness activities and information at the Red Ribbon Rally at West Covina High School on October 26th. We met and talked to a lot of community members. This month, Coronado students will continue to volunteer at the Los Angeles Regional Food Bank. Coronado is proud to partner with the food bank and provide regular volunteer support to help distribute food and other essentials to people in need. Softball season is in full swing, and we just celebrated our first win last week over Chaparral High School in San Dimas. The team is now gearing up for our crosstown rivalry game versus Mount Sac on November 22nd. Our Which Sea Will You Be presentations and speakers continue with representatives from the Baldwin Park Adult Ed Program and Electrical Training Institute. On Friday, November 15th, Coronado students will attend the NHRA Youth and Education Services Program. The program will show students how STEM is applied to a variety of career options, including the motorsports industry. This concludes my board report. Thank you.
Thank you. Calliope. Feisty.
Good evening, President Cruz, Board of Education, Dr. Flores, Cabinet, and guests. October was a very eventful month for Edgewood as we held many events leading up to our homecoming dance. Notably, Edgewood ASB held our annual Haunted Maze experience led and directed by ASB President and Vice President Carmina Ramos and Calliope Bays. This was our 4th year running the maze, and we have had an incredible turnout, selling tickets to over 100 families at Edgewood and in the West Covina community. This was a great opportunity for clubs and sports as we offer them spaces to sell food and other goods outside the maze. Earlier in the month, we recognized our girls tennis and girls volleyball teams for making it to CIF, both winning Miramonte League champions. Further, our boys water polo also are league champions and are currently playing their semifinals game for CIF, hoping to make it all the way to being CIF champions this year. Last week, International Baccalaureate representatives visited Edgewood for reauthorization, where they conducted interviews with students and staff, as well as held classroom visitations. Senior Mia Macias organized a blood drive on October 29th, where Edgewood High School students and West Covina residents had the chance to save lives and donate blood in return for a gift card. Closing October and leading into November, we held our homecoming rally and homecoming dance, where we announced our homecoming king and queen at the rally for the first time. Our rally and dance were very successful, and many students were in attendance and enjoyed the activities, including fortune-telling, free food, and a special robot appearance. This concludes my October board report. Thank you.
Thank you. Alejandro Martinez.
Good evening, President Cruz, Board of Education, Dr. Flores, Cabinet, and guests. As the year progresses, we have introduced more college resources to seniors who are applying within the coming months. Our college counselors have been able to provide us with college rep visits ranging from UCLA, USC, CBU, and more. At the end of October, 12 clubs participated in our first food fair during lunch, where clubs got the opportunity to sell food to raise funds for their club. And as a whole, they raised over $2,000. Last week on Election Day, students made a show of democracy in the first school-wide mock election hosted by our AP government teacher, Ms. Hong, during lunch. Over 500 students participated, and this gave them a glimpse at the voting process by giving them an opportunity to vote for the next president of the United States. This past Friday, AFJROTC had their Veterans Day Assembly to celebrate and honor our veterans. And I would like to thank everyone who came and supported AFJROTC and saw all of their hard work. Furthermore, junior Becky Osorio has now secured her 3rd league championship and MVP title for cross country, and she is now moving on to CIF. Next week, we have Collegiate Week hosted by our Renaissance Leadership class to celebrate and recognize student academic achievements throughout this past semester. And on that Friday, we will be having our first boost day of the school year, where we have food trucks, jumpers, and games out for all students to enjoy to give our students a mental boost before Thanksgiving break begins. And with that, this concludes my report. I would like to thank you for your time and attention. Have a great rest of your night.
Thank you. Christabella Rodriguez.
Good evening, President Cruz, Board of Education, Dr. Flores, Cabinet, and guests. I'm happy to be here for my 3rd district meeting as the student representative from Mount Sac Early College Academy. About a month ago, our sophomore, junior, and senior classes had the opportunity to take the PSAT and SAT with scores released last week. Talking more about academics, our school also had college midterms mid-October that were over just in time for our Red Ribbon Week and Fall Festival activities. Red Ribbon Week was celebrated with free goodies being handed out, pledges signed to stay drug-free, and spirit days promoting the idea. October 25th was our annual Fall Fest, in which it was a huge success with every club having the opportunity to make a profit and the community supporting them. Looking forward, we will be having our movie night this Thursday, November 14th, watching Spider-Man. Moreover, for the entire month of November, leading up until Thanksgiving break, we will be holding a canned food drive in partnership with our Interact and National Honor Society clubs. Then this week, Thanksgiving grounds will be given out and finals grounds will be given out soon to help students get in the holiday spirit. Finally, we will end the semester with our winter formal and last house competition on December 6th. Thank you for your time. This concludes my report.
Thank you. Board, do we have any other reports? Dr. Flores? Dr. Flores?
Okay, so thank you for stealing my thunder there. I wanted to talk about Veterans Day and the celebration in Washington DC. But I want to first start by, I know it seems like it was a long time ago, but that Red Ribbon event, I just want to thank our partners at Rotary and everybody who was involved in doing that, our staff, our families coming out. It was just an amazing event. The Camarena Foundation was out there as well, and it's just, it's great to be back. Obviously, I was not part of the Red Ribbon event before because I was not your superintendent, but I can tell you it's a really fantastic event, and we look forward to continuing our partnership with Rotary so that we can bring this event every year. Next, I just want to say about Veterans Day. You know, one of my most favorite events of the year in West Covina Unified is our Veterans Day celebration by our JROTC team at West Covina High. It's such a touching moment, and they do such a wonderful job, and I was a little bit disappointed to not be able to participate this year, but it was a great cause because West Covina Unified's own Mount Sac Early College Academy has been named, as you probably know because we keep bragging about it, as one of 30 schools in California and one of 356 schools in the entire country. Keep in mind that we have thousands and thousands.
Moving on to public comment, I want to once again welcome everyone. I would also like to take time to remind everyone a few guidelines so that we may ensure respectful and productive meeting for all. Please remember that we ask for respectful behavior from all attendees. This includes refraining from interruptions, keeping comments within allowed time during public comment, avoiding any personal attacks. For your convenience, the rules for conduct are posted visibly here in the room. Please take a moment to review them if you need to, as these guidelines are in place to ensure everyone can participate in a positive and organized environment. Additionally, I'd like to note that under California education law, the board has the authority to issue warnings and, if necessary, remove individuals who cause significant disruptions. We hope everyone will help us maintain a respectful environment so that we can conduct the business of the board efficiently and fairly. Thank you.
Can I also ask, we normally excuse our students at this time. They do have school tomorrow. Of course, students, if you want to remain and see, be present for the rest of the meeting, you could do that, but at this time, you may be excused if you have homework or you need to be somewhere, okay?
Mr. Magallanes?
Thank you. Items from the floor, public comment. Please submit a request to address the board forum prior to the meeting. Not more than 3 minutes are to be allotted to any one speaker, nor more than 20 minutes on the same subject. This portion of the agenda is for presentations to the board and not a question and answer period where the board enters into a dialogue. If you have questions for the board, please provide the board president with a copy and an administrator will provide answers at a later date. Public comments beyond 30 minutes will be at the discretion of the board president.
Hello, dear school board. My child has been bullied by a sixth grade student at her school, along with the 7th grade and a group of girls at Edgewood Elementary School, since the beginning of September of this year. On September 27th, my daughter reported to her counselor, Ms. Escobar, that she was scared and she was going to get jumped by a group of girls. Ms. Escobar took my daughter to the office to address the situation with the assistant principal, Mario Morales. I was not notified by the office what was going on. My daughter was the one who notified me via text about the incident that was going to happen. On this Saturday, the 12th, my daughter's picture was posted on Instagram saying we hate her. I went to the school this morning at 8 a.m. to write a statement to the principal. Excuse me. I also emailed the member of the school board that had not been contacted by the principal or anybody from the district. I was contacted around 5 p.m. by Ms. Bergman from the Edgewood School District telling me that they contacted the parents of the girls. Mind you, this has been something that's been going on since September. The parents have been contacted and my daughter is still getting bullied. I feel that if this doesn't stop, my daughter will get hurt. The bullying has not stopped and the bullying's getting worse. I understand the school has a duty to care for my child and her well-being, but I feel like this is not being followed to the full extent. I want you all to look at my daughter and explain to her. Come here. I want you guys to look at my daughter and explain to her why this has been going on for so long and nothing's being done. This has affected my daughter's grades, and this also has affected my daughter's mental health. And I want to know what we're going to do to make sure that these kids don't keep getting bullied on campus and nothing is being done. Thank you. Hi, I stand here for my child Nathaniel, that's a 6th grader, that has been bullied ever since he started Edgewood Middle School. There is an incident with my child, a text and rumors about being said, going around, that my child was going to get jumped by another student and his friends. I had a talk with Mr. Morales. He did walk me through the consequences about my son and the other student, and he told me in his exact words that nothing was going to happen to my son, that I should not worry. He let me take him home that day that it happened, and let me know that he'd call me later on to let me know what will end up happening with the situation. He told me that he'd call me in a little bit and was gonna let me know what was going to happen. My son, his dad, and I didn't feel safe of him being at school. We felt like we weren't taken serious. He emailed me about the situation and what was gonna happen. I emailed him back. He'd let me know he'd investigate more. My son missed almost a week of school. Mr. Morales never got back to me about the situation at all. I felt like he pushed the situation aside. Till I ended up getting a hold of Dr. Cabrera. She handled the situation, but the bullying kept carrying on with other students to where my son doesn't feel like he's safe at school anymore. I feel like our kids are easily brushed off when it comes to other students bullying and using harsh words to our children, and nothing is ever really done. I want to know how you guys can help us parents and children that need help with being safe at school and knowing they'll be okay as we drop them off. How can I promise my child that he will be okay as I drop him off at school, knowing that this bullying is going to keep happening without anyone truly stopping this or anyone caring about our children? This is something that I take very serious, and I wish everyone else would take it too. Thank you. Elizabeth Inez? evening, board members and guests. My name is Elizabeth. I first have something positive to say. I've been in West Covina for a little over 15 years now. And I really like our school district. I think it's a great place to bring our kids, and that's why I had not only one but two children attending. And I think Merced is an excellent school. I really liked how the class sizes 15 years ago were a little smaller. This time around, they're a little bit larger. I think Merced is an excellent school. Like as I mentioned, I love all of our staff. I volunteer there. I volunteered in the past. I think our school is excellent, and I think what would help make it a little bit better is if we would have maybe smaller class sizes. That way, all the kids, currently there's 30 students per class. It makes it a little bit challenging for instruction for all the kids to receive, the adequate amount of time that they need for whatever students they may be having or concept they don't quite grasp. So, like I said, if we could help make the school a little bit better by having maybe smaller class sizes, that way each student can get appropriate amount of time for instruction. Other than that, like I said, the school is excellent, and I'm really happy with everything that's being handled. Thank you.
Arlene Zamora.
Good evening. My name is Arlene Zamora, for those of you who don't know who I am. I just want to touch on class sizes. When you have some classrooms in some grades, like let's say for example grade 2, you've got one class and you've got 30 kids, and you've got the next grade 2 and there's only 22. I think maybe a happy medium, and maybe reducing the class size from one and putting them in that other, so that it's more even, instead of having 22 kids in one classroom and having 30 in the other. Just might be a start to work on. But I'm also here to touch on something that happened to my grandson at Edgewood. Over a month ago, there was a teacher, a sub to be exact, where that sub told not only my grandson, but several other students in that classroom that they were stupid. And I'm sorry, that's not gonna happen on any given day. And I've had enough. I got a call about 2 days later saying that the only repercussion to that substitute was that he got moved out of Edgewood Middle School. That's not okay by me either. This teacher needs to be gone. And from what I'm hearing, he's at another school where I have another grandchild, and I don't want to see another incident happen with another student in regards to, because it's an ongoing problem with this teacher. Several of you here have received my email, and I really hope that we can get to the bottom of this and make sure that it doesn't happen to any other child out there in this district. Thank you.
Vicky Shalala.
I'm going to be reading this on behalf of Mr. Drexel Smith. Dear Honorable Juanita Cruz, Board President and Board members, I offer a passionate plea the Board leave in place long-standing policy of the automatic rotation of Board leadership that takes place during the upcoming annual organizational meeting. I offer this based on 50 years of experience, personally serving on boards including public elected offices, public corporations, private corporations, nonprofit and foundations. Additionally, the Drexel Consulting Group, LLC, provides governance guidance to boards as well. I believe this experience qualifies as having expertise in the matter. In the San Gabriel Valley, there are 31 incorporated cities. In LA, there are 80 school districts and over 200 purveyors of water, each with a board. With rare exception of these entities share a common policy of automatic rotation of leadership. Why? Because it is all about fairness. Every educated person brings value, a bit oftentimes from a different perspective. If you change from automatic rotation policy, what times from a different perspective if you change the basis of selection? The best, most productive boards are those who respect each other, acknowledge each other, a point of view based on their individual backgrounds, constitute inputs, and life experiences. Often, it has been proven being street smart is far more valuable as a leader being educated smart. Based on my experience, if you depart from an automatic rotation, it becomes a power game and always ends up dividing the board into groups. That is why these entities who have tried alternative approaches return to an automatic rotation. With elected board members, each enjoy an equal amount of authority. Being the chair, mayor, president adds responsibility as the facilitator and lead spokesperson of the entity, but in fact does not come with any additional authority. As a facilitator of board governance discussions, I firmly believe a board that respects the unique differences each person brings to the discussion of any item is the best. I'm gonna run out of time, so I'm gonna read the last paragraph. Thank you.
Pam Rosenthal.
Good evening, everyone. President Cruz, Board of Education, Dr. Flores, Cabinet, and guests. My name is Pam Rosenthal, and I've been a member of this community for 61 years. It saddens me to see that we are having what seems to appear to be a power struggle to monopolize power by changing board policies 9121, 9121.1, and 9123. There is a reason that in these policies, the 4-to-1 rule is in place. It is there to make sure that when there is a clear 3-to-2 division, that any one board member is not singled out. This is to make sure that all members have an opportunity to hold an officer position. This policy currently gives the 5 members of the board equal and fair representation to do so. All 5 members of the board were elected by the community to have a voice and to be heard. With trying to monopolize this power and changing policies to be in anyone's favor, they exclude Mr. Flowers and Mrs. Miranda. It is not being inclusive and giving fair representation to the members who elected them and to the children whom they represent. Dr. Lopez, it's come to my attention many times that you speak of knowing what it feels like to be treated unfairly and constantly speak of inclusivity and fair representation. Yet unfortunately, here it is again on our agenda, and it will usurp that fairness, take it away. I would like you all to ask yourselves, is this in the best interest of the children? Is this a fair representation of the entire community? If you can answer yes to either of these questions, then we need to reevaluate the reasons behind changing the board policies. Thank you for this opportunity to express my sentiment, as well as other community members who are able to be here tonight. Thank you.
Good evening, board members, faculty, and guests. My name is Jason Lopez, and I have been a member of the West Covina community for 51 years. I have sat back too many times as people who have never had a conversation with my wife have spoken poorly about her. I am going to enlighten you about who my wife is and the many sacrifices we have made together. I met my wife in 3rd grade at West Cove Elementary. We went on to graduate from Edgewood High School, later married and started a family, and have entrusted this school district to educate our 3 children and now our grandchildren. The reason I'm addressing the board is to support my wife. Her journey has been a meaningful and fulfilling sacrifice, marked by profound pride. Together, we have navigated the balance of family life and the pursuit of her professional and personal dreams, a journey that takes dedication and resilience. Watching her fulfill aspirations from raising a family with love and care to stepping into her calling as an educator, to achieving the remarkable milestone of earning her doctorate, has been deeply rewarding. She is an elected official on the West Covina Unified Board of Education, a director with the Los Angeles Association of School Board, a director of the Educational Advisory Board for Whittier College. In addition to being a proud educator and even prouder family woman, this speaks to her commitment to shaping education on multiple levels. Each of these achievements not only underscores her devotion to improving lives through education, but also represents countless hours of hard work and vision. In supporting her, I've seen how these accomplishments impact both her students and the wider educational community, bringing positive change and inspiring future leaders. Though this journey has involved personal sacrifice, my pride is a reminder that each step, large or small, has been part of building something greater together. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Jerry Patras, and I'm speaking on behalf of West Covina neighbors. In an effectively functioning school board district, the 5 elected board members will have an equal term at being a board officer. This concept is important because school board members are elected by a diverse group of voters with differing views. Collaboration, not competition, among board members is expected. Without a specified rotation, a permanent majority can and often does arise. Minority views are often ignored and just dismissed. A permanent majority tends to result in a board in turmoil, a situation that is not good for the school district. The supermajority threshold is an important protection against unwarranted and bad decisions. 4-1 is a good supermajority. 3-2 is not a good majority. The proposed organizational changes regarding the election of officers to the board are inappropriate and must be rejected. Thank you.
Good evening, school board. My name is Claudia Vasquez. I am a former West Covina Unified Special Ed Department employee. I'm a family therapist, local business owner in West Covina, and I worked many years as a mental health provider for a local school district. I'm here because I want to support the idea of electing a school board president rather than rotating the position. It can be grounded in a key benefit, namely accountability and trust. Electing a president helps ensure that the person in this role has a full confidence and trust of the board. An elected leader is also more accountable to the board members and the public since they were chosen specifically for their leadership abilities, vision, and capacity to represent the board's values and priorities. That's what I wanted to say. And I also want to comment on the student board members. You guys are so amazing, well poised, very professional. You made a good choice in choosing your board members. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, President Cruz and all board members. I'm here to stress the great need to move away from the rotation process for board president, as is the board's current policy, and move into a democratic practice, voting for the highest qualified person. As the community is well aware of, some of our previous board presidents have abused this title for their own agenda. However, if the board moves towards electing presidents, I believe this would foster building relationships. An elected school board president would have the opportunity to build lasting relationships with stakeholders, such as school administration, teachers, and the community, creating a more stable and trustworthy environment that can foster stronger collaboration and support for school initiatives. Lastly, as a tax-paying citizen, I would demand that the previous president's expenditures to be provided as public record. Thank you.
Sorry, I need my notes before I get too far away. I just want to touch base for the classroom size. You guys have to go to the Department of Education for that because they kind of implement the sizes, I'm sorry. But moving forward, good evening, President Cruz, members of the board, and guests. Thank you for this opportunity to speak today about the proposed updates to board bylaws 9121, 9121.1, and 9123, which focus on the nomination process for roles of president, vice president, and clerk. I support moving from rotation system to electing board members to these positions as a parent with a student of an IEP. Yes, I speak upon that because my voice wasn't heard until I was introduced to Dr. Lopez, Mr. Magdalenas, and Mrs. Cruz. In this district, I can speak for the importance of feeling heard by the board. For years, my voice seemed to go unnoticed, and I struggled to have my concerns addressed. It wasn't until I met them that I truly felt my voice and the voices of parents like me were valued. This is why I believe it is crucial to have a formal nomination and election process for board leadership roles. It ensures that the most qualified individuals are chosen, fostering transparency, which is something our district lacked with the previous board, and accountability. Yes, accountability. And giving parents, the community members like me, confidence that their concerns will be taken seriously. Furthermore, updating these bylaws will set a positive example for our school community. 45 surrounding districts, that's all I counted, already use an election process, including neighboring cities of Baldwin Park, which is a city I work for, Covina, Hacienda, La Puente. And by adopting this approach, we can model the democratic values and effective governance for our system, students, staff, and families. And in conclusion, these updates are important to the step towards better representation and more effective leadership. I urge the board to adopt these changes. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Good evening, school board members, Dr. Flores, cabinet, and guests. My name is Annette Santana, and I am a resident of West Covina. I have been very involved with the PTSA for the past 22 years, 18 of those with the West Covina Unified School District. Although my children have all graduated from this district, I continue to actively be involved with the PTA. Having said that, I would like to indicate that I believe the school board is biased in a 3-2 configuration due to 3 board members being related, 2 board members that are siblings, brother and sister, and the third is a best friend. Due to this being the current situation, it is very likely there will never be a fair decision because of such. The 3 board members will most likely agree with each other, and I invite you to look at the school voting record for the last 4 years. They have voted as a 3-2 block. School board members should vote based on the best interest of the students and not based on their interpersonal connections. There shouldn't be any alliances. As a board, everyone should be advocating for the students in our district. Perhaps if the board members would have had their own children attending schools in the district they represent and not at Covina Valley. It seems like the school board is doing what is more convenient for themselves rather than what benefits the students of West Covina Unified School District. A major decision such as the presidential succession should require a 4-to-1 vote and should meet an extremely high standard that is also clear and transparent. The fact that you are proposing to remove the 4 one vote and change it to a 3-2 vote shows that your priority isn't the students, but that of your selfish personal agenda. Your priority as school board members should be the students. You say you advocate for equal and equitable access to the 21st century education for all students. Therefore, I challenge you to make that the priority and practice what you preach and extend equal and equitable access to all your fellow board members as well. Thank you.
Hi, good evening all. My previous neighbors made it very easy for me because I'm opposing the bypassing the established voting standards. So there's nothing said that I can add to that other than the ones that are against this have said it all. So I won't take your time with any further comments because I strongly believe that, especially when the people are related, you know, it doesn't fly with me. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board, superintendent, and fellow community members. I appreciate the opportunity to address you all tonight regarding items 8C and 8D on the agenda, which propose amendments to our board's bylaws to lower the voting threshold for key leadership elections from a 4-5 majority to a 3-5 majority. I'm here to express my strong opposition to this proposed change as it undermines both the integrity of our governance and the intent of our current bylaws. First and foremost, our bylaws set the 4-5 vote threshold as a binding requirement. This high threshold was specifically established to prevent narrow majorities from making unilateral decisions on leadership that impact the entire district. Lowering it to a 3-5 vote will allow just 3 board members to control leadership indefinitely, weakening the fair balance of voices we rely on to make responsible, transparent decisions. Adherence to our bylaws is not optional, it's legally essential. Courts in California typically uphold bylaw provisions as binding agreements within an organization, treating them similarly to contracts. In the case of Wolf versus CDS DEFCO, reported in volume 185, California Appellate Reports, 4th series, page 903, the California Court of Appeals emphasized bylaws are binding documents within organizations, and any amendments must strictly follow the procedure specified within those bylaws. This case underscores that our bylaws 4-5 threshold is a safeguard that legally cannot be bypassed by a simple majority or a 3-5 vote. Attempting to amend the bylaw with a lesser vote is not only procedurally invalid, but also breaches fiduciary duty to the board and community, disregarding the binding nature of the 4-5 requirement. Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised, reinforces its point, emphasizing the bylaws with higher voting requirements cannot be amended by a lower threshold. According to section 25.7 of Robert's Rules of Order, rules established in the bylaws cannot be suspended or overridden unless the bylaws explicitly permitted. This principle makes it clear that a bylaw requiring a higher voting threshold, like a 4-5 vote, cannot be amended by a simple majority or a 3-5 vote, unless such an amendment procedure explicitly allowed, which it is not. Consider a hypothetical example. Suppose a bylaw required unanimous consent for the private sale of school property, and a board attempted to amend this rule with a simple 3-5 vote. Such an attempt would clearly undermine the original bylaw's intent to require unanimous support for significant actions. In fact, our own bylaw of the board's 9323.2 specifically requires unanimous approval for the private sale of surplus property valued at less than $2,500, underscoring the board's understanding that specific voting thresholds are meant to be respected and upheld. Lowering the current 4-5 threshold to a 3-5 majority for leadership elections sets a concerning precedent that could be applied to other bylaws, including a unanimous vote required for private property sales. Let's be very clear, this amendment is a step towards consolidating control within a small group, essentially allowing a 3-5 majority.
Hi, good evening. My name is Sue Agino. I just wanted to come tonight and support the democracy of our school board. I was a kindergartner here
went through Edgewood High School. I raised my 3 daughters here. My husband went through kindergarten and all the way through high school. And so I think we have a lot in stake in our school board. Our kids have now graduated and gone on to raise their own families. I just have a couple bullet points that I want to say. I won't take a lot of your time. Rose Magdalenas Lopez, Juanita Lopez Cruz, and Joe Magdalenas. There's a lot in common there, those 3 names. Voters voted 5 board members, not 3. They voted 5 collective voices, not 3. Nepotism is real, and it's very, very apparent on this board. Why can't these 3 collectively work with their other 2 board members? Why can't they just work together? Why is it always, this isn't the first time that this has been tried. Why do they have to silence those other 2 voices? Those were our voters, voted these other people in to entrust that these voters or these other board members could speak their minds. But these 3 constantly want to slow them down and just put them out. It's not right. And how can this benefit our students, our staff, our families? How is this going to benefit just having 3 family members speak on behalf of the whole district? 3 family members. I mean, I give it up to their family to come and say great things. It's wonderful that you speak beautifully about your family and your wife, but it absolutely has nothing. It absolutely has nothing to do with what's going on right now. I thank you for your time.
Good evening, President Cruz, Board of Education, Dr. Flores, Cabinet, and guests. My name is Johnny Anderson. I'm the chapter president of
Lived here my whole life, on Vista, Del Norte, Edgewood. When I graduated, I went into the military for 6 years. Anyway, I'm just gonna ask one question. What is the purpose of this move? I'd like to hear an explanation. What is the purpose of going from 4 votes to 3? And I'll leave it at that. I have a lot of things to say, but I'll save it for another time. Thank you very much, and everybody have a nice evening.
We will now move on to the consent agenda, which includes board policies scheduled for approval. But before we move on, I want to address the issue on the organization of the board trustees. Ms. Kelly, will you please put up on our screen information on school governance for surrounding school districts?
We can't see that.
Mr. Magallanes, would you like to say anything?
What's the point? Can it be put on this screen here so we can see it?
We can't see that.
Can't see it. Extremely small.
I don't even with my glasses.
It's definitely the fine print.
Well, there you go. For those who can't see it, these are the surrounding school districts locally that elect their board positions. As you can see, there's Baldwin Park, Bassett, Bonita, Burbank. There's all these areas around us that have an election process. I'm not sure what the 4-to-1 supermajority that's kind of going around here was all about, but what's on the agenda this evening regards the actual election, the democratic process for electing our president. So these are the schools, the districts around us that actually have that as policy right now.
Thank you, Mr. Magallanes.
You need a 4-1 vote to change it.
Do we have anybody that wants to move? Moved by Dr. Lopez.
Yeah, what are you voting for?
The agenda consent items,
No, I like,
or is there somebody who would like to bifurcate?
I would like to have them remove off of the, board policy.
Go ahead, Mr. Flowers.
You on the agenda, that's what I'm on, agenda consent item. Okay, have you asked anybody who want, I'm sorry, have you asked anybody who want to remove anything or add anything? I would like,
What is it that you want to
I
know?
want to remove BB 9100 organization, president, vice president, and clerk. What, 12, 1, 1.
Okay, so president, organization,
President,
vice president, and clerk.
Yes,
correct?
just the president, vice president, clerk.
President, organization, vice president, and clerk?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Flowers. Mr. Flowers has requested that we separate four items on the agenda. Is that a motion as well? You'll move it with those items, okay, moved by Dr. Lopez,
I'll second
seconded by Ms. Miranda. I'm seconding to approve all these, items except board policy 9100.
which is an organization.
Board bylaw 9121, president. Bylaw 9121, vice president. And board bylaw 9123, clerk. All those in favor? Aye. All those against? We will begin with the first verified item, bylaw 9100, organization. Is there any discussion on this item?
No, I'm sorry.
If there's no further discussion, may I have a motion to approve board bylaw 9100, organization? Seconded.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The motion set next is a motion to approve what?
Didn't say against.
The motion, next is a motion to approve bylaw 9100, organization, has been moved and seconded. All the motion carries, board bylaw 9100, organization is approved. Next, we will address the board bylaw 9121, president. Is there any discussion on this item?
Yes, Madam President, since you agendized this, again, explain to us why you decided to agendize this item. Can you explain to us why you decided to agendize 9121, 9121, 9123? Can you explain to us why you decided to agendize this item?
We discussed this in closed session.
I'm asking this in the ordinance, business notes, right? You know, so it's on the, it's in the agenda, it's on the agenda that you agendized it. So I'm asking you why you agendized it.
Again, we discussed this in closed session.
This is discussed in open, this is open session.
But you have to remember that you bypassed this, so you are the one who makes the discussion.
Okay,
that
no,
she
so I'm
can
asking
answer
a question. Why?
Yeah, but you need to discuss why you took this off consent, so that we understand the
Well,
rationale.
okay, I'm taking out the consent, because I disapprove of it. So, Now I'm asking, why did you put it on?
Can I just clarify something? So at this point, board president, is addressing board bylaw 9121H, and it's a case, so I'm gonna be very specific. And so at this point, there's a question if there's any discussion on this item, and my understanding is that Mr. Flowers is opening up the discussion and asking why this was asked
I
to
can
put
tell you
in.
like this. My thing is about this. I'm gonna tell you how I feel. I'm totally against this item. Totally against this item. And if this is approved, it gives total power to 3 people. You have a sister, you have a brother, you have a family member that sits on this board. That don't give the 2 of us nothing, because you're not even supposed to have 3 people out together. It's against the Brown Act just to go out to dinner together with 3 people. But you have family members that's gonna decide on three people decide on who's gonna be president, vice president, clerk. This could be a thing that Eileen and I could never be president, clerk, or vice president. It could be that way. And some people say, Michael, why did you say that? Because it happened to me. And Dr. Lopez was in president, it was my time to be president. Dr. Lopez didn't want to give up that seat. So they agendized it. But at that time we came to the meeting, Ms. Cruz was not there, so I had to give up my seat. So she had to give up the seat. So if I've been on this board 11 years. Mrs. Minnie's been on this board for 15 years or so.
Are you
No, I'm not done. How would this improve the voice of the people if 3 people making decisions on the board? You say, how can we, so the voters of West Covina, they voted 5 board members to represent them. If you only put 3 in those positions, you take the voice of the people away. So, for instance, next year, it'll be, right now, it's Ms. Cruz is president. So if this goes through, Ms. Cruz is president, Mr. McElhaney is second in line, so this year he would be president, which he should, because he should slide in there. And then it's supposed to be Ms. Minnie, and then Ms. Lopez. But folks, I guarantee you, Dr. Lopez, I guarantee you, if this item passes, Ms. Minnie will be overlooked. Guarantee it. Next year you come back in December, I'm gonna prove you the power thing that Mr. Minnis will be missed. So it'll be Ms. Cruz, Mr. McElhaney, then she will be missed, Dr. Lopez will be in there, and then my turn. That may be the same happen to me. It happened to me once, so why should it happen to me again? Listen, folks, I don't hate my board members. I do not hate my board members. Sometimes you say they're racial. They're not racial. I do not hate them. This is wrong. This is just wrong. This what is this? If you call this justice or just us, I don't know what this is. It's just not right. It's not right. So, folks, look, let me tell you about myself. That's why I deserve a seat at the table also. Eileen and I may not ever have a seat at the table. Let me tell you, I'm not bragging about me. Look, I'm on this board. I'm on the board for Hirsch Ranch. I'm on the board for Historic Society. I'm a senior service commissioner for the city of LA County. I'm for the senior service commissioner for West Covina. I'm a LA County commissioner for Children and Family Services. I just got asked to be on a racial justice committee for the county. I'm in the ELPS, I'm in the committee for family, I'm in the committee for Senator Bluebill for Wings. I deserve a seat at the table just more than anybody else. You always see me around. You always see me around. You see me around more than anybody that sits on this dais. So if I don't deserve a seat, a 3-2 vote is no good for me. So the citizens of West Covina, they need to make a decision. You elected 5 board members, not 3. You got a sister, a brother, and a family member that sits on this board that's going to control the West Covina Board of Education if it passes. Do you hear that? A sister, brother, and family member that sits on the West Covina Board of Education that can control the West Covina Board of Education. Look, this ain't the beginning of this, people. Look, I guarantee it's gonna be a no vote, but this won't be the first no vote, or the second no vote, or the third no vote, or the fourth no vote, or the fifth 3-2 vote. This won't be the first 3-2-1, 3-2-2, 3-2-3, 3-2-4, 3-5, 3-2-6. It's been going on. So now, with these are votes we do in public. So I'm not saying what we discuss behind closed doors. So this is public votes. So now we're gonna have another 3-2 vote. So if this what we are going to get, then the citizens need to say something. That's why they're here tonight.
That's what we did.
How about we ask how much was spent on attorney fees to the previous president?
President Cruz, may I? Thank you. So, to clarify, there are two siblings. I sit on the board with my brother, for those of you who didn't know. But there is not another family member. I met Cruz as her children's teacher in first grade. Her children are now in college. That's how I got to meet her. She decided to do this because she was proud of the community that she was part of as not only an educator, as a preschool teacher, but also as a softball team mom. And as far as what's being mentioned here, there has been multiple violations. And as this person that just left the room said, this has come to our table because of the overpower of previous presidents. Not because the three of us, and if you go back, it was mentioned that we always vote in favor. If you go back to record, you'll find that is untrue. The people that were called here by my two colleagues on each side of me were here to deceive you, to let you know that these things were brought to, well, I'm entitled to my truth, so let me give you some truths. I know they called people because people were calling us and telling us. And there was Facebook posts that said, my brother, my family member, and I are voting against them. Flowers has sat as the president multiple times. Miss Eileen Miranda Jimenez has also sat multiple times. We're new at this experience. We're going through trainings. We're learning it, but we have never deceived the community, and we have all been fiscally responsible.
Except for Miranda.
There are people that have overused that power, and I'm gonna be very honest with you. I sit in this seat because I was an educator at this district. And I promised my colleagues that I would sit here proudly, honestly, and humbly to serve this community of teachers and students, and that would be always at the forefront. And I know for a fact that my colleague here, as I ran my election, said I was a nobody in this community, and I grew up here. But he went around deceiving community members and saying that I was a nobody in this community. And the public voted me into this position because I deserve to sit here and represent this community. And that's the truth. You question that, that's the truth. I can show you all those things.
So do the
And
other
this
two.
is to the person that asked the why.
So do the other two.
Mr. Kennedy, that's the reason why. Ask for public documents of why we want to elect a president so they don't overuse the power and go into tax dollars for their own agenda. Thank you.
If you depart this automatic rotation, it becomes a power game. And that's what it became. If this goes through, you guys, everybody see it, the board is divided. They see West Covina Unified Board.
Mr. Flowers, Mr. Flowers, you had your chance. Anybody else?
I didn't finish.
Anybody
I was
else?
interrupted.
Mr. Magallanes?
Madam President, I was interrupted.
Thank you,
I'm not
Mr.
finished. I
Flowers.
still got
We're
more to
moving
say.
on. We're moving on.
No, you cannot do that. I still have more to say. You cannot do that. I have more to say. We're still in discussion. We have not finished discussion. This is item discussion. You cannot finish discussion.
You had your chance.
Guys, you see what's
There you
going
go.
on. Power play. You see
There
it
you
right
go.
there.
It's right there.
Power. Power. Go ahead. Mr. Reynolds, you want to say anything?
Ms. Miranda?
Power.
Okay, thank you everybody for being here, and I apologize for being late, and I am going to have to leave as soon as we take this vote. My husband is in the emergency room right now, hence I don't have my packet, I don't have anything with me, literally other than my purse and my phone. But I wanted to thank you all for being here, because I know so many of you came out and made this a priority. I appreciate that you are doing exactly what democracy is. This is Democracy 101. If you don't like something, you say something. You can say something, you can write a letter, you can protest. There's so many ways to do it, and I appreciate that everybody had great comments to say on both sides, and everybody was respectful. So I know 2 years ago it may have gotten a little dicey, but this year, thank you, everybody. So as I'm gonna go on record and say I'm a no vote on this, and yes, you did see the document that went up that showed many of our surrounding communities have a 3-2 presidential vote or succession vote. And I can tell you, having been on this board for 17 years, that many colleagues have been overlooked, and they were at the expense, or were not able to sit in leadership because there was a 3-2 majority that was against them. And they have not, in many of those surrounding districts, had the ability to change the policy. I sit as a delegate assembly. I'm part of delegate assembly with CSBA. I talk to board members up and down the state. I meet with them multiple times a year, and that comes up very frequently. It is very difficult to get a 5-0 board that agrees all the time, and it is very difficult to get a 4-1. So 3-2 is very common. So it is not a fair process. I said that last time. It is not a fair process. We all have been elected to this board equally by the citizens of this community. I've been elected 4 times, so that goes to show that the community believes in what I say. I have been very fiscally responsible with the funds. I think there's an allegation going around that is untrue. As well as, again, if people want to do public records requests, there is nothing we have to hide. I have made the students and the staff a priority. Unfortunately, because of budget cuts and things like that, couldn't give you all the raises I'd like to, couldn't do as much for the classroom as I'd like to, but programs that have happened in this district, while I've been a board member, Mount Sac Early College Academy, I went through 3 superintendents and begged for that program. We just got the blue ribbon, and that is amazing. Bilingual education, expanding Edgewood to K-12. All of those things I made a priority for this district because they would benefit students. So by having a 3-2 vote, unfortunately, it leaves it only to a simple majority. If something egregious happens, you need 4 people to agree to that. If something egregious happens. With a simple 3-2, that isn't the case. All you need is a simple majority. So I disagree with it. I'm vehemently against it. I lived through it. We did do a few years back when I was a new board member, there was a 3-2 vote to have me be president a second time. And I have publicly said that knowing what I know now, 4-1 would have been the right way to go. So I'm a no on this, and as soon as we take this vote, I apologize, but I need to leave because my husband is being moved from one hospital to another and I need to get to him.
Regarding bylaw 9121, if there's no further discussion, may I have a motion to approve board bylaw 9121?
Has to be a 4-1 to pass.
Who will second?
I'll second.
Moved by Dr. Lopez, seconded by Mr. Magallanes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we have a 3-2 vote.
Doesn't pass.
The motion carries. Bylaw 9121, president is approved. We will now consider bylaw 9121, vice president. Is there any discussion on this item?
I'm gonna say the same thing as before, so it's all part of the succession.
I'm gonna say what I want to say, that this is wrong. The citizens of West Covina deserve better than this. We deserve better than this. I would never brought this up if you hadn't been on this agenda. Again, we don't have plenty. This one tonight gonna be a no vote, but this won't be the first no vote. This won't be the second no vote. This won't be the third 3-2. This won't be the fourth 3-2. This won't be the fifth 3-2. So I see Mr. Morrow, he's recorded. So when we start having vote, I want you to come and record all the 3-2 votes that we're gonna have in the future. And you put it out there on your social media account. This will not, it's gonna continue. Again, folks, I don't hate my board members. I don't dislike them. I'm disappointed. I really am. You know what? We take 2 steps forward and 3 steps backwards. I don't agree with this. If that's what it is, I'm gonna serve the citizens of West Covina well. And I'm gonna be cordial to my board members at all times, because we know we better than this. I just disagree with what this vote is doing. Again, you know what? We can't get out of our own way. So I just say that, you know what? We still gonna do West Covina business, whether I agree with them or not. I just want to say that part. So I'm done.
If there's no further discussion, may I have a motion to approve bylaw 9121? Moved by Mr. Magallanes, seconded by Dr. Lopez. All those in favor?
Aye.
9121.1. Again, the motion to approve Board Bylaw 9121.1, Vice President, has been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
No.
Aye.
No. Aye.
All those opposed?
No. Aye.
So it's a 3-2 vote. The motion carries. Board Bylaw 9121.1.
It's a 4-5 bylaw.
Vice President is approved.
Who voted yes and who voted no?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question, discussion, please? Who voted yes and who voted no?
This is a meeting of the Board of Education. We will move forward. Lastly, we have Board Bylaw 9123, Clerk.
I have something to say.
Go ahead, Mr. Flowers.
Again, people, look, we have a brother, a sister, okay, a best friend that sits on this board. That's gonna control the West Covina Board of Education. Do you hear me? They're gonna control the West Covina Board of Education. We all have a voice in this thing. Again, I don't dislike my, I'm gonna say don't move in, because I want to think about like, I don't dislike my board member. I really don't. I really don't. I want you to know this. But I do not agree with what's going on here. Again, we vote in public. Again, I'm gonna say it again. This won't be the first 3-2. This won't be the second 3-2. This won't be the third 3-2. This won't be the fourth 3-2. This won't be the fifth 3-2. So what's going on here? We all have a voice. My voice should be just as loud as everyone else. I'm quite sure the citizens of West Covina would love to see me sit in one of those seats and be president. I might not never have that chance. I may not ever have that chance. I don't know if you're listening to me. I might not ever have that chance. So, again, I'm gonna do my job for the West Covina Board of Education. I'm gonna respect my board members. We're gonna go home. We're gonna do God's business. God put me here to make a difference. It's not about me. It's what can I do to make things better for my district and then my community. And I'm gonna do that for 125%. You better believe that. So again, you know me, you know that.
Go ahead, Dr. Lopez.
To reiterate, you have sat in that seat.
We'll see.
As president, you've sat as board president multiple times.
I've been in it twice.
Yeah.
I did a well job. I did a great job.
I didn't say you didn't.
Okay.
And not one of us.
That's true. That's true.
say
I'll take it back.
you
That's true. That's true.
Did not do a bad job. You did a good job.
That's true.
And I know that you were experienced in that position.
Then why
And I
take it away?
reiterate, this is not an open discussion. I reiterate, we were friends way back before we were board members. And the fact that you say you don't hate, it's the same thing. We are all about moving forward for our students. One of the key words though is we need to move from the I to the we. And as trained in governance training, may I remind you that that's the mentality that we need to move forward in. Because when you continuously say, I won't, I will, I won't, it's a mindset that is your own personal.
No, they know me better than that. You guys
But
know me
I'm
better than that.
speaking to you, and
Okay,
I'm not, this
okay.
isn't about
Well, look,
what
let me
was
say one thing.
you
Go
have
ahead.
your time, you did have your time, so. So I just
Okay,
want to reiterate the fact that
We'll now move on.
I just want to reiterate the fact that as we are speaking in the discussion of board president, clerk,
Dr.
and
Lopez,
vice
we need
president.
to move on.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. If there's no further discussion, may I have a motion to approve Board Bylaw 9123, clerk?
I'll move it.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
No.
Why not amend the unanimous bylaws while you're at it? Do it.
So I have a 3-2 vote. The motion carries. Board Bylaw 9123, clerk is approved.
Thank you, everyone. I'm sorry, but I have to go.
Excuse me, Mr. Flowers. Moving on to the information session of our meeting. As you can see, we have the Thanksgiving holidays, the CSBA conference this month. And that's about it. There being no further business to come before the board,
You didn't ask for this discussion. I need to discuss.
Mr. Flowers?
Oh, I didn't get a chance to say this earlier. Dr. Flores mentioned it, the Red Ribbon Rally. It was such a success. I want to take something positive. It was such a success. So if you didn't go last this year, please, you have to attend next year to the West Covina Red Ribbon Rally. It was off the chain. It always happens. I'm part of Rotary, we put it on, and so it's gotten even. It was bigger in the past. So hopefully next year we make it even bigger. So with all the students getting involved, the kids, the choirs. So please come out to the Red Ribbon Rally next year. The police department is there, the fire department is there, and be a part of such a great thing that really bring the city of West Covina together. In closing.
There being no further business to come before the board, the regular meeting of November 12, 2024 that is adjourned at 7:20.